Well, Thursday Live, May 6th, 2021. I want to welcome each and every one of you who are tuning into Thursday Live to connect this way. Thanks so much, whatever platform you're on. And I've been watching my Facebook page, and so I want to say hey to everybody on there, Irvin and Linda and McShawn, and I saw Leah and many others, so thanks for joining. But one very, very special person is Cody. Happy birthday. And Cody said, just wanted to join and watch on my birthday. And I think it's number 20. And so that's pretty exciting. May's a great month for a birthday. My birthday is in May. In fact, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I want to welcome everybody. There's Robert and Mick and Dawn and Ray. Great to see everybody. Paul Black, thanks so much for being on this thing. And Linda Smith and Sanda. Peggy Blood, good to see you. So thanks everybody for being on this Thursday Live with me. And I have to tell you, I'm pretty excited about this week. As we move towards the weekend. And if you're a guest, welcome to Thursday Live, by the way. This is our time to connect with each other. It's a Northridge family connection experience, but Northridge isn't about insiders and outsiders. Northridge isn't an exclusive club. It's about wanting to wake the world up to Jesus and be connected to everyone that wants Jesus. And so if you're a guest, welcome. Just absolutely proud to have you and hope it won't be the last time. In fact, I hope all of you who are faithful to Thursday Live will tell others about it and share it with your friends and get them connected as well, because it's just, it's a midweek connection where we can encourage each other. I like to talk about Thursday Live as a beyond the connection point, as a spiritual breakaway moment where we get to, I had crazy stuff going on all day, and I'm just a part of the human journey. All of you have had crazy stuff going on all day, right? And it's just, it changes my day when I break away from all of that, connect with you, and make Jesus and Jesus people the focus just for a couple of minutes. And I'm excited about this week as we move towards the weekend for a bunch of reasons. One of them is that it's Mother's Day, and so for any of you who are here on Thursday Live who are moms, let me wish you a early happy Mother's Day as you come towards the weekend. And I loved the creative team's announcement this past weekend in the Northridge service about, warning if you're a kid, if you're a spouse and got a mother in your life, this is your warning. And then the tagline, may God have mercy on your soul. I thought it was funny, but we've been trying to warn. So we hope all of you moms have a great Mother's Day this weekend. And I'm also excited about this weekend because I get to start a new kind of mini-series with you, which is bridging out of our past series on God. And I'm really excited about it because I think it's the perfect kind of segue and kind of final point of that series, the final necessary conversations we need to have. And the series is going to be on growth. And I felt like this last weekend's talk was the perfect bridge between our On God series and all the different characteristics of God and all we learned about God, and what we're going to be talking about starting this weekend with the ways that we can grow in our relationship with this God that we've been taking a deep dive into getting to know a little bit better. And this last weekend we talked about how God is relational, and if you missed it, I hope that you'll go catch it. You can catch it on YouTube channel or go back in my Facebook page or Northridge Facebook page, and it's there. One of the services left there, or you can just go to our website, northridgechurch.com, and watch it on demand, where we keep all of our weekend services and worship services. But it was on, that God is relational. And I think it's the perfect bridge because growing is about growing in our relationship with God, how to grow. And I was inspired by the weekend conversation, putting it together, preparing, thinking it through, the illustrations that God gave me, and then sharing it with you, this idea that, wow, we can walk with God. And it's just remotivated me. But there are ways that we can build into a relationship, and I'm going to look at several in this mini-series on growth, but I wanted to really expand on it tonight a little bit. My out of last weekend, before we go into the new series, kind of just put some icing on the cake that we tried to put together this last weekend on relationships. And the reason I want to talk about it tonight is I've been thinking a lot about my own personal relationships lately, especially the relationships that I had with my mom and dad. And there's a reason for it. And that's because the month of May is a very special month between my mom and dad throughout our lives. And so, Cody, we share something with you. This is your birthday today, but my dad's birthday was May 1. And so he was born May 1st, 1931, and he would have been 90 had he lived to today. And unfortunately, he died in the year 2000. He was 68 years old. And it was just before he turned 69, or would have. But May 1st is his birthday. So I obviously, May 1, I contemplated my dad a lot. You know, you just never forget those special days. In fact, that morning I texted my three brothers, and, you know, we started sharing a little bit about Dad on that day. And then my birthday is May 9th, so I'm a couple days away from, you know, being 41. A couple days away from turning 63, actually. And so I was 27 years behind my dad. And so, whereas he would have been turning 90 this year, I'm turning 63. And then my mom's birthday was May 17th. And so my mom was born May 17th, 1934. And so she would have been turning 87 coming up. And I just think it's really interesting how these birthday memories, I don't know, I just really felt special. I'm the number 3 of 4 sons that they had, and it just meant a lot to me that I had the same birthday month with them. So May 1, May 9, May 17th, Dad, me, and Mom. And so when I experience those days again, I reflect a lot on them. As I go through the month of May, I reflect a lot on my relationship with them, and it's pretty cool. And of course, with Mother's Day, I think about my mom, and, you know, it hasn't been long since she's been gone. And, you know, I have my precious wife, who's the greatest mom in the world to our kids and greatest grandma, but I think about my mom and not having her. It's just kind of odd. And so I reflect a lot, get introspective a lot, go into the memories a lot, and about my relationship with Mom and Dad. And it really does play into our relationship with God, because all relationships require the same thing. All relationships are built the same way. And I can learn a lot about, and so can you, your relationship with God, or how to have a relationship with God through your relationships with other people, what you've done right and wrong. And with my mom and dad, I had a phenomenal relationship when I was a little kid. I mean, they provided a great environment. They were great parents. It was a more traditional kind of household, and so Dad went to work, and Mom was the home executive. But, you know, Dad would come home, and I have memories of all of that. But they gave me a positive but challenging environment growing up. Not perfect by any stretch, but positive and challenging. And in the early days when I was a young kid, I thought they knew everything. And let's be honest, they were my world. And so I always wanted to be close. And because I wanted to be close, I did whatever I could to hang out with Dad when he was home and be with Mom, and it was just positive. But then as I became a teenager, unlike my brothers who didn't pull away, I did. I went from really trusting them and them being my world and, pulling close to really thinking they knew nothing. I didn't like their thoughts on the world, their thoughts on life, their thoughts on what fun was and what I should be doing, and I didn't want them in my world, and so instead of pulling them close, I pushed them away. And then as I grew into my adult years, I started realizing they knew more than I ever thought they knew, and I just longed to be close to them, and I started doing as much as I could to be close, and they as well. And, our relationship was great following that in many ways. Even though we were separated by distance and geography, we weren't separated in the wrong ways. But here's the relevance to me as I think about my relationship with them and apply it to my relationship with God. And can I say this? And it might be maybe the most important thing I say all night, and I had no plans to say it, but we should, as we think about things, as we experience things, as we reflect on things, whatever those things are, we should always try and think of its ultimate relevance to our ultimate relationship, the ultimate priority of our lives, God. And I think too often we do some great thinking on all kinds of things, but we never bridge the gap over to our relationship with God. And in the end, we're supposed to seek God first, and then he'll add everything else to our lives. And so I don't know what you've been thinking about, what you've been learning, what you've been feeling lately, but make sure you carry that over and bridge it to your spiritual life. And that's what I have done here as I've been thinking about my mom and dad. And I've realized our relationship with God is determined in the same way my relationship with my parents was determined. Whether we're see him as our world and we'll do anything to be with him and pulling him close, or not thinking he's all that relevant to us, maybe don't even like how he paints the pictures of the world, and so pushing him away, avoiding him like I did in my teenage years or whatever stage you're at. It's the same thing. And I know what I regretted with my parents, and I don't want to have those same regrets and make those same mistakes with God, and I certainly don't want you to. And so what are some of the things that determine my relationship with my parents and will ultimately determine my relationship with God? It's just easy to understand. It's attitude is one. As a little kid, I had this positive attitude about my parents, and I wanted to be with them and do anything they wanted. Anything I could do with my dad was fun, which he used it to get me to do work with him, right? Today I want to clean the garage. Okay, I want to be with you. But my attitude was like, I want to be with him. Being with him's the world. Being with him's great. Same with my mom. I hate shopping, but it's like, unless it's for me and something cool. But I generally hate shopping. But when I was little, I want to go with you, Mom, wherever. But then my attitude flipped. I didn't think being with them was the world, and so who cares what they were doing? Even if it was great, I didn't want to be with them. And our attitude really does determine where we're at with God. And I challenge you, what is your attitude towards God these days? What are the feelings that kind of explode upward when you start thinking of God? Negative, anger, bitter, disappointment? Where are you? Read the Psalms. Talks a lot about that. But it'll determine whether you're pulling close or pushing away. Another one, if you want to have a relationship with God that you don't regret, I've learned from my parents, it takes desire. And I know that's part of an attitude, but this is a specific one. It's like desire. As a kid, I desired to be with my mom and dad. As an older guy, I desired to be with my mom and dad. We would drive from Michigan to Florida to be with my mom and dad and connect my kids to them. But in teen years, I didn't have any desire. I desired to be somewhere else. Didn't desire to be in their world at all. And so your desire really determines your relationship with God, whether you're pulling away or pulling close or pushing away or in neutral. Do you want to be with Him? Another thing I think about with my relationship with my parents, what determined it was time. Time. And I'm not just talking about quality time. It's such a misnomer. Oh, I schedule quality time with my kids, or I schedule quality time with my parents, or quality time with my spouse. Yeah, there's no such thing as scheduling quality time. The only way you ever get to quality, those special, memorable moments that are marked moments in your relationship, is through quantity of time. It's got to be quantity of time. And without quantity, you'll never experience quality. And so, in the early days when I was a kid, it was like spending all my days with them in many ways. As an older person, trying to get as much time as I could with them. In my teen years, trying to not have any time with them. But time, it takes time. That's what it takes to build a relationship with God. And I'm not just talking Sunday time. And so many people aren't even willing to change anything in their lives, disrupt anything in their lives to spend time with Him. And we're seeing this as relates to church, but that's just a symptom. The disease is seen in they're not spending time in their daily life at all. So why would they then pursue worshiping Him, the inconvenience of worshiping Him in person or even online? It's like they wouldn't. It takes time. Are you spending time with Him? It's the only way you're going to have a relationship with God you don't regret, that you cherish. Another one is communication. In fact, communication is the foundational key of relationships. It's everything. And I talked about on this last weekend, walking with Roxanne, we fell in love walking. And I didn't go into details, but in walking, we communicated. We communicated non-verbally. We held hands, and that we were close, but verbally we communicated. And what do you communicate in a relationship where you have a passion to pull them close? Well, it's very different than what you communicate when you don't have a desire, a positive attitude to pull them close. You're pushing them away. Here's what you communicate with someone you don't have a passion to communicate with. How was your day? Fine. Well, what did you do? Same thing. What else is new? It's ridiculous. That's not what your day was, and it communicates everything to the person. And often we do this with God. They tell me I'm supposed to talk to you, so your kingdom come, your will be done. It's like, if we're going to have a vibrant relationship with anyone, it takes communication. If you're going to have a vibrant relationship with God, it takes communication. What do you talk about? Not prayers you memorized in catechism as a kid. No, you talk about and you communicate your dreams, your fears, your burdens, your desires, your hopes, your longings, your sorrows, your hurts, your expectations. You communicate with them about your day, what you're doing and how you've done. And just, you need to know this. If you want to know what the Bible is, the Bible's God communicating to us His dreams, His hurts about us, His burdens, His desires, His hopes, His longings for us, His expectations. Have you been communicating with Him lately? Have you been letting Him communicate with you? If you're not, then you're going to regret it, just like I regret what I did with my parents when I was pushing away from them. Another one is trust. If you're going to have a great relationship, trust. As a little kid, I trusted my parents just absolutely. Obviously, as a teenager, I didn't, but as I got older, I didn't trust them absolutely. But I trusted them significantly because I knew very few people on this planet cared about my interests more sincerely than they did. And I started turning to them more, and the key is we'll never understand another human being. We'll never understand everything they say, everything they don't say, everything they do, everything they don't do. Roxanne and I have been married 41 years. I'm sure she has a huge problem with some of that with me, but both of us have this relational trust that's grown over time that gives each other the benefit of the doubt. You know, we're there for each other, and that's what happens when you have a relationship with God. You grow in trust. How's your trust with him lately? And, you know, the final one I'll give you, but there's so many more. Just think about your relationships and what's made them great, and then lay it over your relationship with God, and that'll define whether it's great or not. But the last one is just value. What makes a relationship something special that you want to pull it close and it makes it your world is that you value it above other things. And when you're pushing them away or ignoring, it's that you're not valuing it. I mean, some of us value our careers more than we value our spouses or kids. It's ludicrous. But we do, this inanimate thing that never gives anything back. It just expects us to give them a return. And when we're no longer giving them a return, they send us on our way. You know, it's like, but these people who are people, we sometimes don't value them in life. But in relationships, we need to value them above other things. And if you're going to have a relationship with God, you need to value it above other stuff. And I'm just wondering where your value is with him. And so these are some things I've been thinking about in the month of May as I've thought about my relationships with my mom and dad and Wilf throughout this month. Mother's Day will be another hit. May 17th, another hit. And, you know, I just want to make sure that I apply these learnings to my relationship with God. And I hope this helps you. I hope you'll tell me in the comments here if I'm hitting a note that maybe, you know, can help you. But more than anything, whether you give me a comment, you communicate back to me, you ever affirm me or not, more than anything, I just really long for you to have a relationship with God that you don't regret down the road, that you can cherish and experience his fullness in, okay? And I want to leave you with this verse, Leviticus chapter 26, verse 12. I will walk among you and be your God, and you will be my people. I will walk among you and be your God, and you will be my people. And all we have to do, that's what, by the way, just so you know, my dad and mom were always there for me. I'll walk among you, Brad. I'm there. You'll be my kid. And there were times I pulled them close, and other times I pushed them away, and we do the same with God. Let's be pulling them close, okay? It's all about, spirituality is all about a relationship with God. Let's make that our pursuit this week, a relationship with God. And let's do it for the rest of our lives, okay? And hopefully you'll follow some of these things. Spend some time with him, okay? Anyway, I'm so glad you joined me. I want to pray with you, and then we'll say goodbye for this Thursday Live. But just know how much I cherish the opportunity to spend this time with you, and I hope it's meaningful to you, and I hope you'll be sharing it with others, and that we'll grow this community, and it'll mean something going forward. But let me pray with you right now. Father, thank you so much for each person who joined us on Thursday Live. You know them intimately, and God, I know you long for them to know you intimately. But all relationships take a choice on both sides, and though you choose them, and you want to walk in intimacy with them, and though you're there walking among us, you've given us the opportunity to be your people, your children. We have to choose back. And like with myself, with my parents in my teenage years, I didn't choose them. Many don't choose you. And God, I know it grieves your heart, and it should grieve us who love you. And I just pray none of us will be in those shoes, that we'll all just love you back, love you as our Father, want to walk with you and talk with you and share with you and dream with you. And may we know you fully because of it. I pray for each one who's listening right now or watching, that you would pour your grace into their lives. And it's not always easy being in a relationship. It's not always easy being in a relationship with you. Faith is a very difficult thing to bridge the gap of, between you and us. But it's bridgeable because of what Jesus did for us. Give us the passion. Help us to make it a value. And help us to live each day walking with you. And we'll thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for joining me. I hope I'll see you this weekend. I'd love to see you in person at one of our campuses. As things get better and better. I mean, our state was a huge lockdown state, but they're starting to open it up in large ways. I mean, New York was a huge lockdown state. It's starting to open up in big ways, and I hope that we don't walk through all the open doors that are coming back to us as this pandemic starts to be a little more controlled and all that stuff, that we walk through all these open doors of restaurants and shopping and sports arenas and all that, but we don't walk through the open door of a place where we can worship together in person in Jesus' name. So I hope many of you are just longing to get back, and as you feel safe and you get to that place, that you don't take the comfortable route and stay on your couch, but you come in. But we're going to keep doing online to the best of our ability, and not to make it easy for you not to come, but because there are many that we can't reach in person, and so we're going to be there. But love each and every one of you. Thanks for joining me Thursday Live. Can't wait to see you this weekend, and of course, next Thursday. But until then, have a great week, everybody.